There are viral videos and there are really viral videos. And about 4 weeks ago, a video taken from an American Airlines flight really went supernova. I'm sure you know what we're talking about. It's this one.
Say whatever you want. I'm telling you, I'm getting the off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two but I am telling you right now, that mother back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can die with them or not. I'm not going to.
Bye.
I still, I don't know why, but I experience so much joy when I see that video. Now, this woman got off the plane and claimed that she was sitting next to a lizard person. That's quite a mystery, and we're still trying to exactly figure out what she was talking about. I think we do understand that she had a glass of Chardonnay or two before she got on the plane. That said, the video also took fire because no one knew who she was. This woman was a mystery. Usually, when a video like this hits on the internet or pictures on the internet, people know within a day or two exactly who the person is. Well, we now know who she is, and we know who she is thanks to the work of a very tireless journalist. She is Bree Dail, Rome correspondent for the Daily Wire. Her breedail.substack.com is where her readers learned on July 22nd the identity of this person. And now the rest of the media is caught up with you, Bree. Congratulations.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks for having me back.
So, who is this mystery woman?
Her name is Tiffany Gomez. She is from Texas. She's 38 years old, an executive in marketing. She owns her own company, really put together, has been listed as one of the top, I think it was 2017, one of the top executives in her field and is recognized as such. So it is interesting that no one seems to have recognized Tiffany, including her colleagues in Texas, which had me thinking, this story may be a little bit deeper than just Tiffany maybe having a glass of Chardonnay. In fact, according to the police report that I received via a FOIA request, because that's how it's done at DFW, there's no mention of Tiffany actually having any substance issues. In fact, the police, Larry, didn't even interview her.
Really? How's that possible? I mean, usually if you disrupt operations on an airplane, that's at the very least there's questioning, if not a full-on arrest for a federal offense. What happened here?
Right, exactly so. And in fact, Larry, just to give you a little bit of background on myself, out of college, I was a flight attendant with United Airlines for a little gig. It was great travel fun, but there's also very serious federal regulations that flight attendant crews and the pilots have to abide by post 9/11. So when Tiffany makes mention of people dying on a plane and wanting to get off, those are keywords that are taken very seriously. So why wasn't she escorted off the plane? Why were the people who were taken off the plane and the plane security search? Why were none of them in the police report? None of them were interviewed. The individual that she claimed threatened her was not detained. And in fact, Larry, according to this police report, Tiffany left the security area inside the airport before they had a chance to interview her. And instead, she went back through TSA with her canceled ticket and was able to re-enter through TSA and try to reboard the plane. So something has occurred here in the way of
Wow.
security. Yeah, lots of security concerns. And then you mentioned federal law as well. She has been charged by two, it looks like misdemeanors. One is a criminal trespassing charge for that reentry, and the other was a conduct in on board, disruptive conduct on board the
Okay.
aircraft. But what about the federal charges?
Right. And listen, Bree, if your investigation has led us to the conclusion that there is in fact a lizard person, look, can we just cut to the chase now? Because I can't. Or is that what we're aiming for here?
No, in fact, what I
Okay, good.
saw was a little bit more information from the police on whether or not they had interviewed anybody else on the plane. Because one would think that if someone has threatened her, they would have interviewed, they would have detained the person, they would have interviewed anybody on the plane.
Yeah.
They didn't. So Tiffany is not speaking to the press. It's also very interesting. She is a marketing executive. Within a few hours, maybe a day of this going viral, she was successful in wiping all of her social media. So it was very difficult to kind of track her down. But
Oh.
I did call her. I left several messages with her, and she is not interested right now in speaking to the press. And I'm guessing it's because she is facing charges.
Yeah, that makes sense then. I got to ask you two aspects of this that I think are again tangential parts of the story, but certainly part of the story. The first is the way the media has handled this. I've seen publications talk about this and reveal, oh, we know who she is now. What do you mean we? You're the one who did all the legwork. You're the first journalist to discover this. You did the FOIA request. You confirmed it, and all these other publications aren't crediting you. That seems a little outside the norm. Is it because you don't work for the New York Times?
That's interesting because actually the New York Post did this. I had to call out their journalist. I even contacted her on email, and she responded very tersely that she wasn't going to update her reporting. But it does look like the other outlets just simply missed, didn't do their due diligence, and kind of copy and pasted the story. So
Yeah,
it is
there's a
it
lot of
is
that out there.
that's that happens. That does tend to happen. But it is important to note that Daily Mail and others, although I don't particularly like how Daily Mail decided to post a photo of her house and her address, I don't believe that that's correct to put personal
Yeah.
identifiable information out there. They did source from me, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's important because we want to support independent journalism because some of the best journalism, as is uh, represented by this story, is being done by independent people like you. That was the second question I wanted to ask you. This is a woman who was having a bad day for whatever reason, um, and it just happened to be caught on video. Why should her identity be exposed? And certainly her home and her address and all of that. That seems like an incredible intrusion, and it doesn't really bring journalistic value.
Right, and it's a really good question. I just really want to make the record straight that when Tiffany was videoed in doing this, she was committing a crime, potentially a felony. When that happens, when you commit a crime, you no longer have a reasonable expectation for privacy at that point.
Okay.
And that video went viral, and therefore, what she did was police record, and that's what I reported on police record. I also wanted to give Tiffany the benefit of the doubt when I did a little bit of background on her because many people are claiming she was drunk, she was high, she was crazy, all of these things. We don't know that. That's not in the
Mm.
report. And in fact, Tiffany is an
Yeah,
upstanding member of her community. And I wanted to present that as the case that clearly she was disturbed by something. And I do think that there were major security holes in the DFW's investigation that need to be rectified.
absolutely fascinating story, and there's certainly more to it. Well, we appreciate you, Bree Dail, doing the legwork and doing this journalism. And I had no idea you were a flight attendant too. You still do the whole thing with the
It
deal
was
and
great. It was a great job. It was a great job.
all right. Thanks for joining us. Great work as always out of Rome for Daily Wire. There's more to come on O'Connor tonight.